I never thought I'd be the guy to make a grown woman scream, so loud her vocal cords sounded like a chainsaw chewing through a rusty mailbox. But here we are. It all started with a $75 fine for my grass being too tall by exactly half an inch, delivered by none other than Karen Dunstable, the HOA dictator of Willow Grove Estates. Hi, I'm Jake Patterson, a regular dude who just wanted to grill burgers in peace, but now I'm the rebel king of this manicured suburban hellscape. Buckle up, because this isn't just about grass. It's about the time I turned a toll gate into a middle finger aimed straight at Karen's reign of terror. Oh, and if you're already hooked, drop a comment below. Tell me your craziest neighbor story. I need the solidarity. So, picture this. It's a humid Saturday in July, the kind where the air feels like a wet sock slapping your face. I'm an engineer, 34, single, and my biggest crime is owning a modest two-bedroom house with a yard I mow when I feel like it. Karen, though, she's the self-appointed queen of this 200-home kingdom, armed with a clipboard, a perm that defies gravity, and a smile that says, "I've already called your boss to complain about you." That $75 fine wasn't my first run-in with her, but it was the spark that lit the wildfire. I mean, half an inch? I didn't even know grass could be measured with a ruler that precise. Did she borrow it from NASA? I marched over to her pristine McMansion, fine in hand, ready to politely ask what kind of dystopian nonsense this was. Big mistake. She opened the door in a floral robe that screamed, "I peaked in 1987, her eyes narrowing like a hawk spotting a wounded squirrel. "Mr. Patterson," she said, voice dripping with syrupy venom, "your lawn is a disgrace to Willow Grove's aesthetic standards. Pay the fine or face the consequences." Consequences? For grass? I laughed, right in her face. That's when I saw the glint in her eye shift from smug to downright feral. I'd just poked the bear, and this bear had bylaws. Now, I'm not a petty guy, but I'm also not a pushover. I paid the fine, whatever, but I started digging. See, my house sits on a weird lot. Years ago, when my granddad bought it, he snagged a little extra strip of land nobody cared about. Fast forward to last month. I'm sipping coffee, flipping through dusty property records, when I spot it. That strip? It's the only road into Willow Grove. Every minivan, every delivery truck, every soul in this pastel prison drives over my land to get home. My brain lit up like a 4th of July finale. Karen wanted a war. She was about to get one. I didn't waste time. I called my buddy Mike, a contractor with a grin like a used car salesman and a work ethic to match. "Jake, you're a genius," he said, practically drooling at the idea. Toll gate. Right there. Cash money. By Monday, we had a plan. A sturdy, automatic gate with a pay station, $2 per car, residents only. Fair, right? I mean, it's my road. I sent Karen a courtesy email. "Dear Ms. Dunstable, as the legal owner of Ridgeway Lane, I'll be installing a private toll starting Friday. HOA dues don't cover my property taxes, so I'm taking initiative. Best, Jake." Polite. Professional. A total gut punch. Friday rolls around, and there's the gate, shiny, red, and glorious, with a little sign. "Patterson Toll. $2 entry, residents only." The first car to pull up? Karen's white SUV, license plate, Ho Queen. She rolled down her window, face redder than a sunburnt tomato, and shrieked, "This is outrageous. You can't do this." I leaned out my front window, sipping a beer, and yelled back, "Check the deed, Karen. Private property." That's when she slammed her horn so hard I swear the birds fled the trees. Game on. So, there I was, Jake Patterson, the guy who went from that quiet engineer to the toll gate tyrant, overnight, sipping my second beer of the evening, while Karen's SUV horn blared like a foghorn on steroids. The sun was dipping below the horizon, painting Willow Grove Estates in a smug golden glow, and my shiny new toll gate stood there like a bouncer at an exclusive club. Karen didn't just honk, she raged. Her face was a pressure cooker about to blow, and I swear I saw steam curling out of her ears. "You'll regret this, Patterson," she screeched, peeling out in a cloud of dust. Regret? Nah, Karen. This was the most fun I'd had since I rigged my Roomba to chase my cat. Meanwhile, across the neighborhood, the news spread faster than gossip at a PDA meeting. My phone buzzed off the hook. Texts, calls, even a Venmo request for $2 with a memo, toll LOL from my neighbor Tim. Tim's the guy who mows his lawn in flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt, a laid-back dad of 3 who'd been fined by Karen for a kiddie pool violating visual harmony. He jogged over, beer in hand, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. "Jake, you're a legend," he said, clinking his bottle against mine. "She's been up my ass about my mailbox being too teal for months." This is justice." I laughed. Justice? Maybe. Revenge? Definitely. By morning, the toll gate wasn't just a gate, it was a circus. Cars lined up, engines idling, as residents fumbled for cash or glared at me through their windshields. Mrs. Henderson, a sweet 70-year-old with a yappy terrier, rolled up first. $2, she huffed, digging through her purse. In my day, roads were free. I shrugged. "Tell that to Karen, Mrs. H. She's the one who started this." She grumbled but paid, muttering about HOA Nazis as she drove off. Then came Dave, the gym bro with a pickup truck so loud it rattled my windows. He leaned out, flexing a bicep. "Worth it to see Karen lose her mind," he said, tossing me a crumpled 5. "Keep the change, man." Karen, though? She wasn't sulking, she was scheming. I spotted her across the street, pacing her driveway with her phone glued to her ear, barking orders like a drill sergeant. I couldn't hear her, but I'd bet my left kidney she was calling the HOA board, or maybe a lawyer. "Good luck, lady." I triple-checked the deed with my cousin Sarah, who's a paralegal and meaner than a rattlesnake when it comes to paperwork. "You're golden, Jake," she texted me last night. "That road's yours, and they can't touch it unless they eminent domain it, which they won't. HOA's got no jurisdiction." I grinned, imagining Karen's face when she realized she'd picked a fight with the wrong nerd. Back at the gate, the mood was shifting. Some folks grumbled. Fair, $2 adds up. But others? They were into it. Lisa, the yoga mom with a Prius plastered and coexist stickers, rolled up with a smirk. "This is the most excitement Willow Grove's seen since the Great Squirrel Invasion of 19, she said, handing me exact change. "Karen's gonna flip when she sees my TikTok about this." TikTok? Oh, hell. I hadn't even thought about social media. Sure enough, by noon, my phone pinged with a notification. "At Willow Grove Rebel tagged you in a video. Toll Guy vs. HOA Karen. Round 1. It had 500 views already. Great. I was viral. Meanwhile, Karen escalated. Around 2 p.m., a tow truck rumbled up, some greasy guy in a backwards cap eyeing my gate like it was a piñata. Karen strutted out, arms crossed, smirking like she'd won the Super Bowl. "Remove it," she snapped, pointing at my masterpiece. I jogged over, deed in hand, channeling every ounce of petty I had left. "Private property, pal," I said to the driver, waving the paper. "Touch it, and I sue you, her, in the truck for emotional distress." The guy shrugged, climbed back in, and drove off. Karen's smirk melted into a snarl. "This isn't over, Patterson," she yelled, storming back to her house. Oh, I knew it wasn't. But I also knew I had the upper hand, and a neighborhood starting to cheer me on. By day 3 of the Patterson toll gate experiment, Willow Grove Estates was a pressure cooker with the lid rattling off. I, Jake Patterson, accidental revolutionary, stood at my kitchen window, coffee in hand, watching the morning unfold like a reality show I'd accidentally starred in. The gate hummed along, collecting $2 bills and dirty looks in equal measure, while my phone buzzed with texts from neighbors I'd never even met. "Hero," one said. "Jerk," said another. Fair enough. I'd take both if it meant Karen's perm was wilting under the stress. And trust me, it was. She hadn't left her house since the tow truck fiasco, but I could feel her plotting like a Bond villain with a grudge and a bad haircut. Outside, the gate was a magnet for drama. Tim, my flip-flop-wearing ally, had set up a lawn chair nearby, sipping a Miller Lite and waving at cars like a Walmart greeter. "Morning, folks. Support the cause," he'd yell, grinning as people honked, some in solidarity, some in fury. Lisa's TikTok had blown up overnight, 10,000 views now, and she'd added a sequel, HOA Karen's Meltdown, caught on doorbell cam. It was grainy footage of Karen screaming at the tow truck guy, captioned, "When your power trip hits a toll gate." I snorted into my coffee. Viral fame wasn't my goal, but watching Karen's ego implode on loop? Priceless. Meanwhile, across the street, Karen emerged like a hurricane in a pantsuit. She'd swapped the floral robe for a blazer that screamed, "I'm calling your manager," clipboard in one hand, megaphone in the other. A megaphone. I nearly choked. "Attention, Willow Grove residents," she blared, voice crackling like a drive-through speaker. This toll gate is an illegal obstruction. Refuse to pay. Stand with your HOA. A few cars slowed, heads poking out windows, but then Dave's monster truck roared up. He leaned out, biceps bulging, and bellowed, "Shove it, Karen. I'd pay double to see you squirm." He tossed me a $5 bill and peeled through. The crowd cheered actual cheers. I had a fan club. Karen's face went from tomato red to nuclear meltdown purple. She stomped toward my yard, megaphone still blasting. "Patterson, you're violating community spirit." "Community spirit? Lady, you fined me for grass height. Spare me the Hallmark card crap." I stepped onto my porch, arms crossed, and shouted back, "Check your bylaws, Karen. My land, my rules." She froze, megaphone dropping an inch, and for a split second, I saw panic flicker in her eyes. Then she rallied, spinning to the growing crowd. "This man is extorting you. Fight back." "Extorting? Please. It's $2, not a ransom note." Back inside, my phone lit up with a group chat: Tim, Lisa, Dave, and Sarah, my paralegal cousin. "She's losing it," Tim typed. "Heard she's calling an emergency HOA meeting tonight." Lisa chimed in. "My TikTok's at 20K now. People are sending me Karen memes." Sarah, ever the voice of reason, added, "She might try something shady, Jake. Watch your back." "Shady? From Karen?" I'd bet my gate on it. Sure enough, an hour later, a beat-up sedan rolled up, not a resident. A skinny guy in a cheap suit climbed out, snapping photos of the gate like a paparazzo. HOA spy? Private investigator? Either way, Karen was digging for dirt, and I wasn't about to let her find any. That afternoon, the tide shifted. Mrs. Henderson, the terrier lady, shuffled over with a plate of cookies, oatmeal raisin, the good stuff. "I paid your toll, Jake," she said, eyes twinkling. "But I'll admit, seeing Karen squawk like a plucked chicken makes it worth it." I grinned, munching a cookie. "Thanks, Mrs. H. You're my MVP." She patted my arm. "We're tired of her nonsense. You've got more support than you think." Support? I'd started this for petty revenge, but now it felt bigger, like I'd accidentally kicked over an anthill of fed-up neighbors. By dusk, the emergency HOA meeting was in full swing at Karen's house. I didn't go, why bother? But Tim Liv texted me the highlights. "She's ranting about upholding standards," he wrote. "Called you a rogue element." People are arguing back. Lisa slipped in too, filming discreetly. Her next TikTok dropped an hour later. HOA Karen's desperate power grab, with audio of Karen yelling, "He's destroying our way of life." Way of life? It's a toll gate, not a zombie apocalypse. But as the video racked up views, I realized something. This wasn't just my fight anymore. Willow Grove was waking up, and Karen's throne was starting to wobble. So there I was, Jake Patterson, sipping a lukewarm beer on my porch, watching Willow Grove Estates turn into a suburban soap opera with me as the reluctant star. It was day 5 of the Tollgate saga, and my little red rebellion was humming along, raking in $2 bills and Karen's wrath like it was Black Friday at a discount store. The air buzzed with something electric. Half the neighborhood was ready to crown me king. The other half wanted my head on a pike. But Karen? She wasn't just mad anymore. She was unhinged, and I was about to find out how low she'd stoop to keep her HOA crown. The morning kicked off with a bang, or rather, a clang. I jolted awake to a metallic screech outside. Stumbling to the window, I saw a rusty pickup parked crookedly by the gate, some guy in a hoodie swinging a crowbar at my masterpiece. "Hey," I yelled, bolting out in my boxers and a t-shirt, adrenaline pumping. He froze, dropped the crowbar, and sprinted to his truck, peeling out before I could snap a photo. The gate was dented but still standing, tough little bastard. My blood boiled. Karen's fingerprints were all over this, even if she'd kept her manicured paws clean. I called Tim, who was already on his third coffee and second conspiracy theory. "Sabotage, man," he said, jogging over with a toolbox. "She's hiring goons now. You're rattling her cage hard." We patched the gate with duct tape and spite, but I wasn't laughing anymore. This wasn't about grass or $2 fees. This was war, and Karen was playing dirty. Lisa swung by next, phone in hand, filming the damage. "This is gold," she said, eyes gleaming. "TikTok's gonna eat this up. HOA Karen hires thug to smash tollgate." I've got 50K views on the last one already. I smirked. "Make it quick." She's not done yet. She wasn't. By noon, a certified letter slid under my door, fancy HOA letterhead and all. "Cease and desist," it read, claiming my gate was disrupting community access and threatening legal action. Legal action? I laughed so hard I nearly cried. Sarah, my paralegal pit bull, was on speed dial. It's a bluff, she said, voice sharp as a razor. They've got no case. Your deed's ironclad. She's just flexing. Flexing or not, Karen was banking on me folding. Fat chance. I framed the letter on my wall like a trophy. Meanwhile, the neighborhood was splitting like a reality TV alliance. Dave rolled up in his truck, tossing me a protein shake, his version of a peace offering. Half the block's with you, man, he said, grinning. The other half's kissing Karen's ass at her emergency meetings. Mrs. Henderson shuffled over too, terrier yapping at her heels. I baked you a pie, dear, she said, handing me a warm apple masterpiece. We're starting a petition, no more Karen. You've lit a fire. A petition? Pie. I was a toll gate guy, not a revolutionary, but damn if it didn't feel good. Across the street, Karen was in full dictator mode. Tim texted me updates. She turned her garage into a war room, maps of Willow Grove pinned up like she was planning D-Day. She's saying you're a public nuisance, he wrote. Claims she's got proof the gate's illegal. Proof? I'd love to see it. Then Lisa dropped a bombshell video. Caught her red-handed. It was shaky footage from her Ring cam. Karen sneaking around my yard at midnight, tossing paint cans into my bushes. Paint cans? That's why my roses looked like a Jackson Pollock knockoff this morning. The TikTok racked up 80K views in hours, comments flooding in. She's unhinged. Go Jake. Karen's toast. I wasn't celebrating yet. That afternoon, a city inspector showed up, pudgy guy with a clipboard and a bored expression. Complained about an unauthorized structure, he mumbled, eyeing the gate. My stomach dropped, but I handed him the deed, Sarah's legal notes, and a coffee to sweeten the deal. He skimmed it, shrugged, and said, looks fine to me. Private land, your call. He left, and I exhaled. Karen's proof was a dud. She'd forged a complaint, banking on bureaucracy to bury me. Rookie move. By nightfall, the petition was real, 30 signatures and counting, slapped together by Mrs. Henderson and Tim on a Google Doc titled Freedom from HOA Tyranny. Dave blasted it on his Jim Bro Facebook group, and Lisa tweeted it with hashtag #TollGateRebel. Karen's war room lights burned late, but the tide was turning. I leaned against the gate, dented but defiant, and cracked a beer. She could throw goons, letters, and paint at me all she wanted. I had a neighborhood, a viral army, and a pie. Bring it on, Karen. It was day 7 of the toll gate saga, and I, Jake Patterson, was running on fumes, caffeine, and the sheer thrill of watching Karen Dunstable's HOA empire crack like a cheap wine glass at a frat party. My dented red gate stood tall, a middle finger to her clipboard tyranny, while Willow Grove Estates buzzed like a beehive someone had just kicked. The air smelled of victory, or maybe that was Mrs. Henderson's third pie of the week. Either way, Karen was cornered, and I could practically hear her perms sizzling from the stress across the street. The morning started with a bang, figuratively, thankfully. Lisa burst onto my porch, phone in hand, eyes wild. Jake, you're at 200K views, she yelped, shoving her latest TikTok in my face. HOA Karen's paint can scandal. Busted. The comments were a wildfire. She's done. Jail time for Karen. Toll guy for president. I grinned, but my gut twisted. Viral fame was fun, but Karen wasn't the type to slink off quietly. She'd go down swinging, and I had to be ready. Tim jogged up next, Hawaiian shirt flapping, waving a printout of the petition. 50 signatures, man. We're taking this to the HOA board tonight. 50? I'd started this over a $75 fine. Now I was leading a coup. Across the neighborhood, Karen was in meltdown mode. Dave texted me a blurry photo. Her garage war room, now a mess of crumpled papers and coffee cups, with her pacing like a caged tiger. She's screaming about legal precedent, he wrote. Keeps saying she'll sue you into next year. Sue me? With what? Her collection of Bed Bath & Beyond coupons. I laughed, but Sarah's voice echoed in my head. She might try something shady. Shady was Karen's middle name, and I wasn't about to let my guard down. Then it hit, the knockout punch. Around noon, a sheriff's deputy rolled up, lights off, but presence loud. My heart sank. Had Karen finally pulled a trump card? He climbed out, badge glinting, and handed me a folder. Mr. Patterson? Got a report for you. A report? I flipped it open, and there it was, security footage from a gas station 2 miles away, time-stamped 3 nights ago. A grainy shot of that hoodie-wearing crowbar punk filling up his truck. next to Karen's white SUV, her face clear as day in the passenger seat. Holy hell. She hadn't just hired a goon, she'd ridden shotgun. I called Sarah, voice shaking with glee. She's toast, Sarah said, laughing. Conspiracy to commit vandalism, misdemeanor at least. Send it to the deputy. I did, and he nodded, jotting notes. We'll follow up, he said, tipping his hat. Follow up? That was cop speak for Karen screwed, and I was here for it. Meanwhile, Lisa's TikTok army was already on it. Someone zoomed in on the footage, tagging the sheriff's department with hashtag Justice for Jake. By 2 p.m., it was at 300K views. The internet was a beautiful, ruthless beast. Back at the gate, the vibe was electric. Mrs. Henderson brought lemonade, spiked, I'm pretty sure, passing it out to a growing crowd. Dave blasted Sweet Home Alabama from his truck, turning it into an impromptu rally. To Jake, he toasted, hoisting a protein shake. The guy who made Karen cry. The crowd cheered, and I felt like a rock star, or at least a guy who'd accidentally stumbled into a revolution. Tim clapped my shoulder. HOA meetings at 7. We're crashing it with the petition and this. He waved the sheriff's report. Oh, this was gonna be good. At 7 p.m., we marched in, me, Tim, Lisa, Dave, Mrs. Henderson, and a dozen others, petition in hand. Karen's living room was packed, her loyalists glaring daggers, but the air shifted when Tim slapped the papers on her coffee table. 50 residents say you're out, he said, voice booming. And this? Proof you trashed Jake's gate. Gasps rippled through the room. Karen's face went white, then red, then a shade I can only call impending doom. Lies. She sputtered, lunging for the report, but Lisa was faster, live-streaming it all. Smile, Karen, she chirped. You're on TikTok. The board, 3 nervous retirees who'd clearly never seen this much drama, tried to intervene, but the crowd was done. Step down, someone yelled. Enough fines, another added. Karen shrieked, this is my community, but her voice cracked, and for the first time, she looked small. The deputy showed up mid-chaos, badge out, asking to talk privately. Her loyalists scattered like roaches in daylight. As he led her outside, I caught her glare pure venom, but powerless. The room erupted in cheers, and I just stood there, dazed, holding a lemonade I didn't remember grabbing. So here I am, Jake Patterson, standing on my porch a week after the HOA showdown that turned Willow Grove Estates into a suburban legend. The air's crisp, the kind of October morning that smells like fresh starts and Mrs. Henderson's cinnamon rolls. My red toll gate, dinted, defiant, and frankly iconic, still stands, but it's not just a gate anymore. It's a symbol, a reminder that even a regular guy with a deed and a grudge can topple a tyrant like Karen Dunstable. And folks, if this ride's kept you hooked, drop a comment below, tell me what you'd do with a Karen of your own. I'm dying to read it. The fallout from that chaotic HOA meeting was swift and glorious. Karen didn't just step down, she crashed and burned. The sheriff's report was the final nail. Conspiracy to commit vandalism, caught on tape with her crowbar-wielding sidekick. By morning, deputies were at her door, not for a chat but with paperwork. No cuffs, sadly, it's not that kind of movie, but a court date and a misdemeanor charge that wiped the smirk off her face. Her white SUV vanished from the driveway soon after, replaced by a for sale sign that felt like a victory flag. Tim saw her packing, muttering about ungrateful peasants. Peasants? Lady, you're not Marie Antoinette. You're just a bully who lost. Meanwhile, Willow Grove was reborn. The HOA board, shell-shocked by the uprising, dissolved itself faster than sugar in sweet tea. In its place, we formed a neighborhood council, no fines, no clipboards, just folks like Tim, Lisa, and Mrs. Henderson making sure we didn't turn into a free-for-all. First order of business? A block party. Dave's truck became a DJ booth, blasting everything from Lynyrd Skynyrd to Lizzo, while kids ran wild and adults swapped Karen horror stories. She fined me for my Christmas lights being too festive, one guy admitted. Too festive? I laughed. What's that even mean? We toasted to freedom, and yeah, Mrs. Henderson's spiked lemonade made a comeback. The gate? I kept it, not for the $2, but for the principle. I painted it fire engine red, added a sign, Patterson Toll, pay and smiles. Residents loved it, tossing me grins or the occasional cookie as they passed. Lisa's TikTok series wrapped with a montage, me fixing the gate, Karen's meltdown, the petition rally, and the party, set to Sweet Caroline. It hit 1 million views, And I got fan mail, actual letters, from strangers saying I'd inspired them to fight their own Karens. Me? I'm just a guy who wanted to mow his lawn in peace, but I'll take it. Across town, rumors swirled about Karen. Dave heard she'd moved to a condo downtown, where she was already terrorizing her new building's maintenance guy. Good luck, buddy. Hope you've got a lawyer. Back here, the neighborhood felt lighter. Mrs. Henderson's roses bloomed brighter without Karen's paint cans, and Tim's two-teal mailbox stood proud. Even the grumblers, like that guy who'd called me a jerk, came around, admitting the gate was kinda badass. High praise from a man who owns 6 lawn gnomes. As for me, I'm back to being Jake the engineer, grilling burgers and dodging Lisa's attempts to make me a TikTok star. But every time I see that gate glint in the sun, I feel it, a spark of something bigger. I didn't just beat Karen. I gave Willow Grove a story to tell, a reason to stand up. We're not perfect, Dave's truck is still too loud, and Tim's cat keeps stealing my socks, but we're free. And that's worth every dent, every dollar, every sleepless night. So, what's next? I'm keeping the gate, maybe adding a tip jar for Mrs. Henderson's pies. Life's quieter now, but I'm ready for whatever comes, another Karen, another fight, or just a sunny day with a cold beer. And you, reading this, what's your fight? Got a Karen in your life, or a gate you build to stick it to him? Hit that comment button and spill. Your story might just spark the next revolution. Until then, keep smiling. It's the best toll you can pay.